Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies with Nerds Who Do Bullying. Me host Leroy, aka Matches Malone, with my co-hosts.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka Clown Hunter's Balls.
There we go. Yeah, and we're back with the episode. Hey, you got a Batman shirt on. Cool. Representing. I do want to say this. There are a lot of polls out right now, like who's your favorite Batman? Who's this? Who's that? We're not going to do that, but I do want to make sure that everybody stop disrespecting Adam West. You gonna make a Batman best Batman post. Make sure Adam West is on there. He is the OG. He started his gangster shit. This is not the thanks he gets. So fix that shit. So yeah. So
I concur.
You got to put him on there. Don't disrespect him. So like I said, we're back. There was a movie we saw. You know, the movie came out this week.
I saw it in the theaters. I actually went to the theater and saw it.
Whoa! You put butts in the seats. Okay. So yeah. So like I said, we're not gonna waste time. We're not gonna lollygag. We're not gonna start with any time filler. We're just gonna jump right into it, get into it, because that's what people came to see. So we're gonna start off with an old classic. Eli, give it to me. What is the #1 movie of the week?
Was it The Batman?
It was The Batman. Oh, I gotta look. There we go. You know what? I'm still put us on there. Boom. There we go. Yes, it was The Batman. The Batman was, but let's look at the numbers actually. What The Batman was. So The Batman. No, we're gonna look at the weekend. It's been so long I forgot how to do this stuff. Anyway, The Batman was #1 movie this week at a whopping, and like I said, this is an estimate, so we can't really go by what they're saying. 128 million. So that is the second biggest opening. A matter of fact, there's only 2 movies that hit 100 million since 2020. One of them was Spider-Man: No Way Home, and this was Batman. So that's pretty big. Now Spider-Man did like 228 million, so it was like nowhere close to what Spider-Man did. But for that in that post-pandemic era, that's pretty good, Eli. I mean, what I'm hearing is that, like we're kind of on the downside of the COVID pandemic. People are starting to, the mask mandate is starting to be lifted more. So maybe this is a turn for cinema now. Well, or the movie theaters, what you want to call it. That people are actually going to start coming out now, because last year people were scared to bring the movies out. Now, if anybody that hasn't seen Batman, I put a post out, just let everybody know that it will be on HBO Max 45 days from now. Now, the reason to be on 45 days from now, because this movie came out last year, it would have been on HBO Max like day of. But they got in trouble. Many movie studios were suing them. So it's like, you know what? Let's just make a compromise. Let's have it 45 days out. So probably like around like April 18th, April 19th. If you don't go to the movies and see
420. Light them up.
Now, see, that would be great if Batman was fighting like a weed villain or something, like Floronic Man, or something. Or even Poison Ivy,
I'm sure if you were high, this movie would look pretty cool. If you were
if you had a good looking TV. If you got like a shitty looking 20-inch, monitor, or you're looking at your cell phone, probably not. But you got one of those big 4K monitors. Oh yeah, it'll hit you up. Let's see what we got here. The internet meme, Riddler, Reddit, Black Panther. That's hilarious. Yeah, we're gonna talk more about that 616, man. Because like I said, I just want to let you know this is gonna be full spoilers. We're going balls deep into this movie. I want to break. Oh, got to bring you back, Eli. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie, then come back to this podcast. Or if you don't give a shit, stick around. We don't care. We already seen it. So yeah. So first off, let's explain how this movie came about. Like I said, we've been doing this podcast long enough. I don't have to ask Eli how did you find out about Batman? We ain't got to do that shit. We're past that. But I do want to talk about how this movie came to fruition. Yes, technically this movie was supposed to be part of the Snyderverse of the DCEU. It was supposed to be part of that when it was first in conception. And it was supposed to have been written and directed by Ben Affleck. It was supposed to be a spinoff movie from Justice League, like they were going to do, make a Justice League movie first and have all the solo guys make their movies afterward, like Aquaman and Flash and Batman, all stuff like that.
Batman was supposed to fight Deathstroke and all that shit.
Arkham Asylum supposed to blow up. He was supposed to go run the game. Yeah, it was supposed to be like all kind of shit. Like Ben Affleck leaked Deathstroke footage, so it was there. But then the box office reviews of Justice League came out. Box office reviews of Batman v Superman came out, and one of them were like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to have you direct. And on top of that, it was a movie that Ben Affleck came out with that he also wrote and written and directed. We by Night, we live at night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Nobody remembers the name of the movie, and that's kind of the reason why they took him off the Batman movie, because nobody saw that movie. It may or may not have been good, but who knows? So they took him off the directorial side of Batman, but they were still going to let him, be Batman in the movie. But then they brought Matt Reeves in. And Matt Reeves, I guess him and Matt Reeves and Ben Affleck had like a conflict of interest. And plus, Ben Affleck was kind of like having a mental breakdown at the time. I don't blame him. I mean, stronger men after the shit he was going through, stronger men would.
I heard Matt Reeves didn't even want to do it at first. They first offered it to him while he was still directing Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, yeah.
So. Yeah, and they were like, you want to do this Batman movie? He's like, he didn't really want to at first. So they kind of kept pestering. Then they finally said, "What would you do?" And then he said, "Well, I want to make it its own thing." He didn't really have any interest in connecting it to the broader shared universe. He just wanted to do a standalone
Warner Brothers
Batman
was on this. I think they were on the same page also because Warner Brothers was kind of moving away from that also. Yeah. So they didn't want to connect it to the Snyderverse and DCU. So they're like, Ben Affleck, if you're gone, bye. We don't really want to be connected with you anyway, So when Matt Reeves came in, he just like whatever script Ben Affleck wrote with Deathstroke and the Arkham Asylum, and he was gonna have him fight Clayface and all this shit like that. That's out the window. We're starting from scratch, from the bottom, and we're rebooting this up. And that's when you got a whole new Batman movie. So this was supposed to be a one-off, but we saw the box office numbers. Warner Brothers gonna do everything they can to bring everybody back. So now we can just jump in the movie and just talk about the movie. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna lean into it. You can just jump in whenever you want to. Eli, who we got here? We got 616. What you got there? Just League movie, and then Solo spinoff had potential but messed it up. Yeah, and that's the thing. I kind of want to see because they said Ben Affleck finished the script, and they said the script was awesome, but we'll never see it.
Or plus, this movie, how long this movie got delayed? It was supposed to come out last year or something, but all the shutdowns
of COVID and
Robert Pattinson got COVID, and
right. And I think everybody else on the set got COVID.
Yeah, so it had it was a battle just to get this movie made.
They didn't even know if they were gonna finish the movie. Yeah, but it got finished and it got put out there. So
delayed and delayed again, and
so we got there. So so we're just gonna jump into the movie. I'm trying to see if I can see what we're gonna talk about. So I think we just jump into it. I'm gonna go first, just say what I think about the movie, and then I'll let you jump in and see what you think about it. So just our quick reviews just off the top of it. Like I said, I really like this movie. It was a different feel. They not only a different feel from different superhero movies, but a different feel from different Batman movies. It was a detective story, which I wasn't expecting. Now they had been saying it was going to be a detective story, and I was like, okay, I guess it's going to be like The Dark Knight. When he did that thing with the wooden planks and he shot bullets in
bullets
them.
And shit.
Yeah. Like I still don't understand what that was, but that was supposed to be the detective scene.
That was him investigating. Yeah.
Right. And it was like 5 minutes of that. And he just went to go beating shit out of people again. I was like, okay. Yeah. So I'm thinking this was going to be that, or maybe 10 minutes of him shooting, bullets in the planks, shit like that. Like, no, it was a detective story. It was from beginning to end a detective story, murder mystery.
It was a straight up police procedural or whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but
CSI, Law and Order. It was like one of those shows.
Yeah, like the murder mysteries. I was like, okay, we're watching a procedural drama, which I was not expecting, a superhero movie to be like that, any superhero movie. But at the same time, you expected Batman to be there. Now, even the comics kind of gotten away from the world's greatest, because his name is the world's greatest detective. That's where it came from. The name of the comics he debuted in was Detective Comics. So it's not like, having a detective story with Batman in it is something like out of the ordinary. It's where he came from. Mm-hmm. Like he came from detective stories. So, but the thing is, like, if you read a Batman comic now, all he does is like fight ninjas and, superpowered people and Lex Luthor and shit like that. He doesn't do detective work anymore.
Save cities from being blown up and saving the world and shit. And fans are saying it's more realistic. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there because, like I said, but the thing is, like I said, it's a detective story. It's beginning and end. But the thing is, if you go back and read those 70s Batman runs, that's all they were. That's all they were from the beginning. They were procedural dramas, and basically, like when Batman, like the first through 20 pages with him unsolving the mystery, and the 20th through 30th page was him beating the shit out of the dude when he finally found him. That was every Batman book back in the 70s.
Pretty
But
much.
then they start going towards the route of let's just have him just beat the shit out of people earlier, and then that's just all the book is now. Or even like I said, this book is based on The Long Halloween, which is a detective story, like from beginning to
There's
ending.
a lot of different, Long Halloween. That is one of them. Yeah, the 0 year.
0 year,
elements of
because
0
he
year,
fought Riddler in that.
And then
There's
the
another
finale,
book that is heavily influenced that nobody brings up, and it's Batman Earth One. That book is heavily influenced in this book beginning, because the thing is, there's a brief mention about how Alfred was trained by Alfred trained Bruce Wayne. Anybody that sees that, like in Gotham, stuff like that, it came from this book. It was some other heavy stuff that came in. Also, the whole connection with Martha. Okay, so in the regular issues of the comics, Martha's maiden name is Kane. Martha Kane. That's why Kate Kane, because that's her cousin. Batwoman, also like that. But in this book, Earth One, her maiden name was Arkham, and she was tied to the Arkhams, and she had like mental health issues and shit like that also. And so all that shit came from there. So people are complaining, oh, they changed stuff in the comics. No, it's in the comics. It's there. Just taken from here and there, but it's all there.
Yeah, and it seems like he might have did that on purpose, just so he could say this is a different verse,
Right. And the thing is, like that whole Earth Run book, it felt like a movie pitch anyway. If you read it, it felt like it was written by Jeff Johns, so it felt like a movie pitch. Batman's worst great detective. Yeah. And we'll talk about that also, because I like what they did with him being the worst great detective in this story. Now, like I said, we talk about that. Let's just talk about actual Batman himself. Let's talk about the Paddington. I'm trying to see if I can get a picture of it. I think who we got? Let's see what 616 man got here. A lot of Batman Earth One by Justin still has his hands all over DC films. Yes, like I said, it's not a translation of Earth One, but you can see they took bits and pieces of it. It's there. It's definitely there. But as far as what I thought about Robert Pattinson, Eli, I know we've been talking about this long time about what we thought about, how he's gonna do that. I thought he killed it. I thought he was awesome. That's just me.
I agree.
You gotta eat pizza. You gotta eat pizza.
Hey, I still think his mask looks stupid.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Great.
I'll give you that. Okay. At least you're working with me. You compromise with me. Okay?
Yeah, he looked like he bought his mask at the dollar store. Just saying. But he did a great job.
You're right. I felt his presence when he was Batman. He was emoting through the mask and things like that. I was loving that. That's hard to do as any superhero, to like you can feel what he's feeling, acting what he's feeling through that. He's a different Batman. He's not redoing what Bale did, not redoing what Affleck did. He's doing his own thing. This Batman is Batman 24/7, 7 days a week, 365, 366 on leap year. This is Batman all the time. Yeah, and I wasn't expecting to be that much Batman in this Batman movie.
He's barely Bruce Wayne. He doesn't even want to be Bruce Wayne.
And that's another criticism people were making about the movie that's not, I don't think is a criticism. Because we were talking about, Bruce Wayne, his Bruce Wayne sucks. His Bruce Wayne is supposed to suck. He doesn't know how to be Bruce Wayne. He doesn't care about being Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Alfred's like, yo, you got to do this. You got a meeting with these fundraisers. Or he's like, I ain't got time for this shit.
Right. He doesn't feel like, I'm a be billionaire playboy. He doesn't know how to do the billionaire playboy thing.
Yeah. I mean, he's really obsessive about what he's doing. Like he's not like macking on chicks. Like, you know what I mean? Like Christian Bale is like, even in the Burton movies and in the 90s movies, Val Kilmer and George Clooney, they're always macking on chicks. Bruce Wayne is the playboy, he's always macking and getting laid. And this guy's like, I ain't got time for pussy.
None of that.
I'm too busy whooping ass,
I mean, right. Think about this. Catwoman never met Bruce Wayne in this movie. Like, never saw him at all. And that's actually weird. Like, you've seen it in other Batman movies. Like, you expect.
That's right. She did.
Yeah, Selina's supposed to, like, fall in love with Bruce Wayne. And Batman's just, like, the icing on the cake. Or he's supposed to have, like, some kind of love triangle. No, she never met Bruce Wayne at all. Never seen him. And so, it never even crossed her mind that he might be Bruce Wayne. Because in her mind, she probably even thought about Bruce Wayne. Like, not even where Bruce Wayne died. And it's definitely the case here. Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely the case here. When his parents died, Bruce Wayne died, and that's it. So he is Batman 24/7. He only hangs out in the cave. He barely hangs around Alfred. Even though Alfred is helping him along in this case, he just doesn't care. He just like, look, I'm just here for my mission. And matter of fact, you can tell, and a lot of people saying like, I don't like how, he didn't really like work. Like, I think he worked out for the role. He does, but he's not like 300 ripped, Henry Cavill shit like that. And I actually like that.
Well, this is like year. Well, it's like year 2. So they established this is like he's only been doing this for 2 years.
Right.
So it does fall into that long Halloween a timeline, where this is early.
Even started on Halloween.
It started on Halloween.
Right.
And so it like established this is Bruce Wayne or Batman early on in his career, still trying to figure things out. Still naive.
Right.
And he still kind of got his head up his ass, and that's what I liked about that dynamic of him and Catwoman, because she sort of represents the 99% and he's the 1%, privileged asshole who's got his head up his ass.
Right. And also because he's a privileged asshole with his head up his ass, he has a black and white morality code that I think doesn't really work the only reason he has that code because he's not really in the world like that. He just keeps to himself. Everything's black and white, everything's ones and zeros. And then when he gets to the world, finds out stuff about not only about his parents, about him, like everything is not black and white. Everything's not a moral code, even stuff about Alfred. I guess we could talk about the spoiler, for instance, like, okay, so he's done this mission. He starts his mission because he wants to honor his parents, who he thinks are the virtue of light. They're just the most perfect heavenly people. But then he finds out later on he has some dirt on him. For those who read the comics, and I think this is some of this is in Earth 1, some of this is in Long Halloween, where basically Carmine Falcone was actually like good friends with the Waynes. And if you're running for mayor,
Long Halloween, I believe,
was Long Halloween. Okay, yeah. So they were good friends. They did favors for each other. But the thing is, since Thomas Wayne is running for mayor, you can't really be seen with that criminal element. And the thing was, Carmine Falcone was like, fixing problems for him. Even though he just told him, look, I don't want to be involved with it. I want my hands clean. Carmine Falcone take care of it. And Carmine Falcone was doing a certain way to have dirt on him. And the whole thing when Carmine Falcone got shot in the chest and they had to fix him on at Wayne Manor, all that shit is in the comics. It happened. So they didn't make any of that up. I appreciate how they said that. If you want to see actually what happened, read Whole Lot of Halloween. It's there. Like Carmine Falcone and Bruce Wayne, they go back. They know each other. But yeah, that's the thing is that, okay, so but the thing is, Bruce Wayne or Batman, for instance, was just thinking that this is how it's supposed to be. These angelic, heavenly people that don't have anything to them, but when they have a little bit of dirt, all of a sudden he thinks they're evil. Like nobody's perfect. Like you can do bad stuff. You can make mistakes and still be a good person. Or even with Catwoman, like let's bring it back to Catwoman, like Catwoman and her friend, her roommate.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second also. But the thing was that Batman didn't give a shit about her. Like the her, because he was like, okay, well, obviously she was a prostitute. Yeah. So whatever happened to her, is on her. So it didn't bother me,
Yeah, and that was a strong scene. That was like a pivotal moment for me, anyways, when they're discussing that, and where Catwoman's like, "What about her? Who's going to avenge her?" You're Mr. Privilege. Your rich feelings got hurt, and you get to go on this crusade and vengeance, and how she was patronizing. Okay, vengeance, come on, vengeance. Like giving him shit for his name. Like, yeah, you're the rich white guy with money, so you get to get your revenge. Well, what about the common folk? What about the people who don't have privilege? Who's going to avenge them? And he tried to justify. Well, she made her decisions. Consequences, and she's like, bullshit. Like, some people are born just into these shitty circumstances.
Disadvantaged, right. And just do this best situation they can.
Yeah. Selena being, which was that in Long Halloween where Selena was Falcone's daughter?
Okay. Let's talk about that. So
spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yes. So and the thing is that a lot of people were bashing the movie for that. They're like, oh, they changed the origin story of Catwoman. Like, no, that was in there. Yeah.
It's in one of them. I know it's in one of them.
It's actually like in a few books. But the thing is, Selena could never prove it. She always, that's the thing, like DC never doubled down on it. They were like, Carmine is her father. She was like, I know he's my father, but I can't prove it. I want her to get some paperwork. I can't, So in her mind, she knows, but since Carmine died in the Long Halloween, she can never prove it. But this movie actually like double down. Yep, it happened. That's the father. So yeah, that's the thing. So she was disadvantaged. Her friend was disadvantaged.
Yeah.
So
and then when she tells him that, like that, she's like, he like Bruce actually accuses Selena of you compromise yourself and your morals for money.
Right.
And
basically, you're trying to say that she slipped her way.
To
get,
and she
get
goes,
inside.
That's my fucking dad, asshole. And that was like a big eye opener. Like,
because he just assumed this stuff.
Yeah,
he knew stuff about.
He's like the total, rich person who's got their head up their ass. They can't relate to the common people on any kind of human level. They kind of judge them, and and that's what she's doing. What he's doing to Selena, and then she's like, he's my dad. I was born into this shit. I've had to do what I've had to do out of bare necessity. Something he'll never understand.
Right.
And that's a big eye opener for him.
Okay,
New 52 also had Catwoman, Falcone's long lost daughter.
Yeah. I think that happened I think that happened like pre New 52, where even though she couldn't prove that she was Carmine's father, I think she got his ring, and whoever has that ring is the capo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but basically, she was like, she lets him know, like, some people are born into poverty, and they have to do what they have to do to get by. I mean, some of us, you know how it is. We might know people who don't make the best decisions. We might be related to them. And it's just, we gotta make do. And some people never understand that.
Right, because they only see it in certain ways. Like Batman thinks the only way to help people like this is to beat their ass at first.
Yeah. So,
which is another thing I like about this movie, because like we jump to the end, but he has character growth in this movie.
Yes.
Which I don't think Batman ever had character growth in, and other than Batman v Superman. Okay, I don't need to kill Superman anymore. I still kill everybody else, but not him anymore. But other than this, he had character growth. Like, I need to be a better Batman, or Batman doesn't work.
Yeah, when he beats the shit out of that guy at the end, almost kills him. And then the guys, who are you? And he goes, I am vengeance. And then Bruce is like, oh shit, am I just like these guys? Am I on the left saying, am I just as crazy as these guys? Then he had to make that decision. Okay, am I just out for this personal vengeance, or am I supposed to help people? And then you see him helping with the recovery. You see him trying to save the kid and try to be that hopeful, that shining beacon of hope in this dark ass city,
Right. And it's actually literal. Mm-hmm. Like, he actually puts up a flare and walks them through the darkness. So it's not even like a metaphor. Like, that's what that whole scene meant. I wish I could have it, but that's what it meant. Like, first off, because everybody's scared of him when he's trying to rescue him. And the kid grabs his hand. When the kid grabs his hand, everybody else follows the kid.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I need to be the light. I need to be hope,
Yeah.
Other than just
like they're trapped under that shit, and they're looking at him like, oh shit. And he's like, no, come on. Like, he had to like convince them, like, no, I'm here to help you. And
because they only see him one way. So it was an awesome scene.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was just some awesome. I'm trying to see, what is this scene right here? Oh, I'll come back to that in a second. Oh, I do want to talk about this. This scene wasn't even in the movie. They tricked us because they had some like leaked footage. Okay. So when they leaked the footage, you saw Zoe Kravitz next to Carmine Falcone. So like, oh, that's the leaked footage. But when the actual scene happened, there's actually some other chick there. So they tricked her. I'm actually cool with that. One more thing I want to talk about Zoe Kravitz, performance. I love her performance because she's effortlessly sexy. Let's think about it. Now, what I mean by effortlessly sexy, because let's go back to the last Catwoman we had. Last Catwoman we had was Anne Hathaway. Now, don't get me wrong. Anne Hathaway is beautiful. I will not kick her out of bed for leaving crumbs on the corner, But I'm just saying is that it felt like she has this like elegant Disney princess, old school Hollywood thing.
She's one of them fancy bitches.
She's posh, not really sexy. Sex supposed to be like dangerous, like, oh, not supposed to be good. And it felt like to make Anne Hathaway sexy in Batman, like they had to like make her act or direct her to be sexy. Where Zoe Kravitz just like Zoe Kravitz,
Put her in the
you know,
skin tight suit, have her bending over on the motorcycle, even though that was probably her stunt double riding it.
right.
But
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it her as a stunt double? Whatever it is, nice ass, but still, because basically they try to make Zoe Kravitz. You look at Zoe Kravitz again. I feel like the perfect Catwoman in my mind, who I would cast, is Rihanna. That's just me. Like effortlessly sexy. But if you can't get Rihanna, because I think somebody knocked up whatever like that, hey, get Zoe Kravitz. Why not? So that's my whole thing about that. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Can we talk about the Riddler?
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I just want to briefly talk about the Riddler because the Riddler was a very interesting character, and the more they explore him, the more interesting he is. Because the thing is, Eli, spoiler alert for everybody who hadn't seen the movie, Riddler is one of us. And what I mean by one of us, I mean he's a podcaster.
I thought he's a fan or something.
Yeah, he like Twitch streaming shit like that. That was the craziest thing. That's the Penguin making the movie after the actually a TV show. They're doing a TV show kind of like Peacemaker. Yeah. So they're doing with the Penguin. We'll talk about that. But the thing what they did with the Riddler in this movie is that interesting because the thing is, just like Batman is trying to stop crime, so is Riddler, but they're going different ways about it. That's the thing about the movie. Like everybody is kind of a parallel to Batman. Because, okay, Batman thinks the way to stop crime is to beat the shit out of poor people. Riddler thinks the way to stop crime is to kill rich people.
Yeah,
so
expose the corruption. Yeah.
Expose the corruption, exactly. So they're on, and that's why Riddler thinks they're on the same page. Like that they should be working together. Because the Riddler looks at Batman, like, I mean, you're just like a bat, dude. Obviously, you're fucking crazy. So we should be on the same team, But that's the thing when they're going through the whole movie. So he's going out of his way to get Batman to do his dirty work for him. And that's the thing when that dude says, I am vengeance, it all comes full circle. The real villain of the movie was Batman, if you really think about it. Because
because it was like a big there was that twist because he's leaving letters for the Batman. All the cards are
because
for
he wants Batman
like,
to do this shit for him.
Yeah, and they're thinking, oh, this is a warning. Batman's sitting there thinking, oh, this guy's taunting me. This guy's taunting me. He's like, no, thinks you're on his team, dude. He's trying to help you.
Wait, did they say that? Did they say that? I'm trying to remember. Did they say that in the movie?
No, that's not what. But that's
that other guy. The other guy said that, right? Not Gordon, but the other cop said it. Like, how do we know they're not on the same team?
Yeah, but that's basically what Batman was thinking. This guy's taunting me and taunting the police, and he's fucking with me. But we're in Riddler's mind, like, no, dude, I'm helping you. I'm your accomplice. I'm
helping you, and I'm sending a code that I know the police are too stupid to find, but I know you're smart enough to find. That's why I'm sending this stuff to you. And he's got Batman out here basically just doing his dirty work. Like, look, look at me. I'm soaking wet 90 pounds. I'm not gonna beat the shit out of anybody. But you can just walk in there and just beat the hell out of everybody. So you do the job for me, and that's what. And the thing was, like, Riddler was outsmarted, but the thing was, the clues were too clever for Batman. Like, and that's what I like about it. They call Batman the world's greatest detective, but him and Gordon were like fucking up the clues. He was like, okay, URL. This is like, no, not URL like in Spanish, like URL like a web address. Like, yeah, that fucking stupid. The world's greatest detective. I was like, okay, that's funny.
Oh, where Penguin was fucking with.
Right. Because the whole point, that's the funny thing about it. We're gonna talk about Penguin in a second. But the whole reason Penguin is in the movie and they're chasing Penguin because they're chasing the wrong guy. Yes, Penguin does some illegal shit in the movie. He's basically running prostitution downstairs. He's selling drugs out of the Iceberg Lounge. We see all it. He's running guns. He's doing all the Penguin shit. But as far as the person they're looking for, it ain't Penguin. Mm-hmm. They read the clues wrong with Riddler, and they think Penguin's got something to do with it. No, it's a bird with wings. It must be Penguin. Like, and Penguin, like, man, y'all are stupid as hell, man. Yeah. You good cop, bad shit, crazy cop.
Yeah, he was just basically trying to say all the people, all the city elite, that are running the city, they're all in cahoots with the mob. They all, because the lawyer, all them people were hanging down in Penguin's club. That's like when Bruce Wayne, he just shows up at first few times he's Batman. He goes in, he fights everybody, but then at the end he just shows up as Bruce Wayne and like, oh, well, come on in.
and it's
You're that rich asshole with money. Come on in.
Right.
You know?
And that's the thing. That's the thing he doesn't understand is that he can open more doors as Bruce Wayne than he can as Batman.
Yeah.
I still don't think he understood that concept yet, but I like that. I like that they put that in the movie. You know.
Yeah.
So
like,
even though Carmine Falcone was, he was looking for him the whole
money.
time.
Come
anyway,
on in.
so.
There's a red carpet for you.
Right. He didn't have to beat the shit out of anybody. Right. Yeah. They don't have to beat the shit out of anybody. He just walk in, you know.
Yeah.
They probably think he want to like buy some drugs or, you know, get some women
pussy,
and some shit like that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Like everybody else in town doing it, you might as well do it too.
Yeah, he's another rich asshole, you know, indulging in, you know, illegal activity, you know.
Right. And plus Carmine want to know if he can bring him in so he can get some dirt on him like he got on his father. You know, so that's another reason to bring him in. So like I said, all that was awesome. Trying to see. Let's see, we got another one coming in hot. Every human and let Morrison back. Yes, Eli, I don't even think he had a utility belt in this movie.
Nah, not really.
I don't think so.
No, he had a couple of gadgets and a few thingies, but
he had like one batarang which he carried on his chest. You know, that was about it. He didn't even have a smoke bomb at the end. Like he had to like make a smoke bomb out of like a fire extinguisher at the end of the movie. I was like, wait, don't other Batman like have a smoke bomb and just throw this shit down? That's it. Like he didn't even have like quick batarangs, like throw it, you know, people that were shooting him and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this Batman's like really like low tech, you know.
Yeah.
Even the when he jumped off the roof. Now, did you catch it when he was about to jump out the roof and he got scared?
Oh yeah.
That took me out of the movie for a split second. I was like, wait a minute, aren't you Batman? Like you're supposed to jump off a roof and like not even think twice about it. He went up there, he was like, oh, it almost felt like Robert Pattinson wasn't acting. Like they actually put him up there. He looked over the edge of that roof. He's like, "Oh fuck this! I ain't doing this." You know?
Yeah, like so, I think that might have been his first. Okay, hopefully this shit works. And then he jumps off.
And then he jumps off. So, but I like that. But it was like a real squirrel suit that we've seen like in a ton of movies, stuff like that. So they didn't. It wasn't like nothing in this other than the contact lenses recording thing. I think that's the only like fantastical gadget he had.
Yeah.
Everything else was like stuff you could just like buy at a Best Buy or some shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like anybody can be Batman, you know. Trying to think. The Batmobile, here's the thing about the Batmobile. The Batmobile looked the coolest out of any Batmobile I've seen so far.
It was dope.
But
I thought it looked like Mad Max's car.
Vin Diesel, you know, some shit he ride.
Just a souped up old, Camaro, Chevy Nova.
So somebody like put a timestamp on it. Like, okay, so if they timestamp when Bruce Wayne parents got shot when it came out of the movies, like we know back in the old movies he was watching Zorro. But if he got shot around like 2021 in July, it would actually be they were coming out of the first Fast and Furious movie. So, and that's what inspired, like Vin Diesel inspired him to be Batman, you know. Let's see.
Or Blade 2. Blade 2 came around.
Blade 2 did come around.
He had that Charger, or what did a Challenger or Charger or whatever?
That he drove around and and it was bulletproof. Yeah, bulletproof platform was cool. Very humanless. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like this Batman just walking through bullets and stuff like that because he doesn't give a shit. He feels those bullets. You know he feels those bullets. He just didn't give a shit. You know. Want to quickly talk about some influence. Now, people are saying some influence. I can kind of jump it around, but you know, we know the influence of the movie. We know the movie was influenced by Seven. You know, we know the movie was influenced by Zodiac. You know, trying to see what is this right here. There's something else, also Seven, but it was also inspired by Fight Club. Now, all of these movies, all Fincher movies, they're all Fincher movies. Basically, Riddler was a Fincher villain. The reason I say it was inspired by Fight Club, because like I said, we go back to the Reddit thing. Because Tyler Durden was the same way. He was like this nobody that nobody cared about. But at the same time, he had this alter ego that was charismatic to get these, you know, other nobodies to become domestic terrorists. It was the same thing. And if people didn't watch the movie close enough, those guys were skinheads. Watch again, they were there. So yeah. So that's my whole thing about that. So I like what they did, but you can see the influence, like when you go to like Commissioner Gordon. Gordon was basically Morgan Freeman in this movie. Like from Seven. Like they were doing that whole buddy cop thing, the old grizzled, you know, vet with the young hotshot rookie, stuff like that. And I think they even had that scene. Like Gordon and Batman were going in that haunted house with like the Arkham Asylum orphanage, and they had flashlights. So they were evoking things from 7 on there.
Well,
Now
yeah,
people,
there's that. Yeah, when they go to the Riddler's lair, Riddler's apartment, and find all his books, it was just basically right out of that scene in 7, where they're going through
right,
all that serial killer's notebooks and shit.
right. And Riddler was, John Doe, because the same thing, like since Batman could catch him, he let himself get caught.
Yeah.
Just like John Doe, because
like the Zodiac. The Zodiac was leaving clues and writing to the police and, writing ciphers and, and puzzles and shit for them to figure out.
Right. And the thing was, like, people even before, like after the Jim Carrey 90s Riddler thing, people saying if you're going to do like a gritty reboot of Riddler, the only way to do it is making a Zodiac killer. Like, that's the only way to do it. So people been saying this for like the last 20 years. What do we got here? Riddler is basically Joe Dirt, killer from 7. Oh, John Doe. Well, I said Joe Dirt. And yeah, let's say the same thing. Joe Dirt. I don't know why I thought Joe Dirt. But that's where you go. Now, we've said movies how they're inspired by other movies before. Like, let's take the Joker, for instance. Now, the Joker wasn't inspired by King of Comedy or Taxi Driver. It was King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. It was just those movies copied and repaced. Why? Because the dude that made Hangover directed those movies, and let's not put him on the same level as these other directors. Meanwhile, Matt Reeves took inspiration from these Finch movies. Like, okay, this could be the backbone of this movie, but this movie isn't 7. So all these hipster reviewers out there saying, "Oh, it's just 7 with a cape on," it's not. It's inspired. You can see the inspiration.
There's elements. There's elements of these serial killer movies, but it's also there's elements of Godfather. Fucking Falcone, John Turturro as Falcone. I didn't expect that, and I loved it.
Right, because the thing is, people forget. Right, people forget that John Turturro is a real actor.
Yeah. And has Colin Farrell gotten an Oscar yet? Because that motherfucker.
But he should have a phone booth.
that dude can act. Like, have you heard that dude talk in real life? He sounds like Shrek. He's got that.
Well, he's Irish,
Irish accent, but he like never plays that. He's always playing like even in Horrible Bosses. He's great. Like that dude can act. I had no idea.
He had an Irish accent in one movie, Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil.
he was Bullseye.
Yeah, but it's one thing to like be all prosthetic. He didn't look anything like himself, but that voice that he had, everyone said, "Oh, he was just doing a Robert De Niro impression." No. He was doing a Paulie Walnuts impression from The Sopranos. The motherfuckers got to get their New York Italian straight. It wasn't De Niro. It was Paulie Walnuts. It's like, where did he come up with that? Because that was not his voice. You know what I mean? Like, he totally disappeared. And I was like really impressed with what he did.
Right. It's like, yeah, you could have got another guy to look like that naturally and got there. But I mean, with the way he played it, just go with that.
Yeah. That performance was great. I mean, I was blown away by that. Blown away, just the performances.
And plus, you got people that saying that this movie had no humor, like it was, humorless. Not when Penguin showed up, because Penguin was hilarious in this movie, but he wasn't like overly hilarious like Jim Carrey or like any of the Jokers. He was just funny with the stuff he was doing. He added like, a different dynamic to the movie when he showed. Anytime he was on screen.
Good cop, bat shit cop. Yeah, it's funny because like I remember back when Batman Returns came out back in 92 or whatever, and they said that the Penguin was going to be in it, and I remember thinking I was super hyped up for the movie because I love Batman 89, loved it. I couldn't wait for the sequel. I heard Penguin was going to be in it, and I was thinking like, oh, is he going to be a gangster? Because the Joker was a gangster in Tim Burton's Batman. And plus, at the time, early 90s, we had that gangster movie renaissance. We had The Godfather 3. We had Goodfellas. We had fucking New Jack City and American Me and, Miller's Crossing and all these like gangster movies that were coming out. So I'm thinking the Penguin's going to be a gangster. But then the movie came out and he's like a circus freak. It's Tim Burton, all that shit. But now Colin Farrell is basically what I thought he was going to be back in 92. So and he was just
right because and he even ran the Iceberg Lounge. I'm like, okay, they're going deep in the Batman lore with that because that's what he does. Because the Iceberg Lounge in the comics is just a front, just for Penguin to run hoes and guns and drugs out of the back,
Yeah, and in the games and it's a lot of the fucking cartoons, he's always like that got that British Cockney. I was like, hello, governor. He's got that weird accent. But no, he was a straight up like East Coast mobster, you know, and I dug that. Like even on Gotham, the TV show Gotham, he was like a weird, creepy serial killer and shit that I never thought worked. But I finally got to see the Penguin that I always wanted to see in this movie.
So you're excited for the TV show?
I am. Yeah, like that shit with Totoro, like when the Totoro at the funeral, that whole conversation, I was like, wow, you know, oh, your father. And they brought back the long Halloween shit, and your father, you know, he saved my life once, you know. He's talking
Yeah,
to Bruce
because
Wayne.
and that's the thing about it. Okay, so as realistic as this movie is, to me, it feels like the most faithful these movies have come to a Batman comic, because the movie felt like a graphic novel to me.
Yeah, it was very gritty. It was very dark. I really wanted Jonah Hill as a Penguin. He left because of
yeah, he did. He did. They didn't pay him enough, so he left. Which I'm glad. After what I saw with Colin Farrell, I'm glad his ass is gone.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie was super dark and bleak, but it still had a fantastical tone to it. That when the movie it was super serious and dark during all the detective and, you know, investigation, but when it did go into like comic book movie realm, it totally worked. Like it was still fantastical and acting on that comic book level where you bought like the big giant epic, you know, action sequences that you would expect from a comic book movie, you know. Whereas like the Nolan movies were so grounded in reality, like by the time you get to Dark Knight Rises, really they're on the city's been like this for 6 months and there's a nuclear bomb, and you're kind of like, okay, this is kind of far-fetched even for this movie. And
Right.
you know, you're kind of questioning, you know, what? Okay, he was in. How did he get? You're kind of questioning all this shit. But in this movie, there was just enough realm of disbelief, of fantastical disbelief, where all that action shit worked. You know, oh, cool. You know, oh, sweet, let's Batman or Batmobile chase. Cool. Oh, the Riddler's flooding the city, just like in Zero Year. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and like No Man's Land came out of nowhere, but okay, we're going with it.
It's like I'm totally we're watching this cop show, you know, we're watching like CSI for like 45 minutes, and all of a sudden a big comic book action scene would happen, and it was flawless. You know, oh, cool. I forgot I'm watching a fucking superhero movie. Sweet, you know. And then
So
I got
it's
excited again, you know.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the end of it and then it started to go all, I was like, okay, now we're gonna get Arkham City on their ass. You know, he got all the Riddler goons, and I was like, okay, here you go, square, triangle, R1. You know, don't mess up your combo, Batman. I was into it by then, you know.
Yeah, and how the movie ended, spoilers, where the city's still flooded. That's just like out of the Zero Year comic book, where it starts out like the city's like in ruins and shit, and there's like the legends of the Batman. The little kids are hearing about the Batman legend, and Batman's riding that motorcycle and shit. You know, it's like this post-apocalyptic Gotham, and you know, I thought that was dope. And the fact that the movie did that, I was, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're throwing in all these elements in there. So, and that's the thing. People are saying that the movie is too long. I don't know what you can cut. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There is one thing you can cut. Definitely one thing you can cut. The ending after the ending you're talking about. When Riddler is in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And his friend. Cut that shit. That honestly, that movie brought it down to me, because the thing is, we don't. Okay, let's say who it is. It's the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. And for those who don't know who played the Joker, it was the same guy that played Druid in Eternals. The same. That's what he got to play the Joker. My thing is, he shouldn't have been in this movie at all, because I think it takes focus off what we just seen.
Yeah.
Because there's way too much internet chatter on that scene. Oh, what are they going to do with the next scene? What are they going to do with that? How are they going to do with the Joker? How's it going? Who gives a fuck? Yeah. We just saw a 3-hour movie about something else other than the Joker. And if you give me one of these movies, as of right now, I want to see something other than the Joker. Don't just give me a retread where I was saying, how much Joker can you give us?
It felt like it was tacked on. Like, oh, yeah. It's a comic book movie. Like, this is what comic book fans like. Let's set up some shit. You know, let's throw in, you know, let's have a fucking comic book character flash their tits to the comic book fans so they go, ooh, ooh, you know, because that's what we do.
Right. I just feel like it was so out of, it was unnecessary, out of place. Yeah, you could have cut that. You know, you want to shave some times off the scene, definitely cut that whole scene. It was unneeded, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit, like going into hour 3, I was starting to feel the time limit, but then they launched into that finale, and I was okay. I'm good.
I was the same way also because it feel like when Batman went to Arkham Asylum to see Riddler for the first time when he got caught, it kind of okay, the movie's kind of wrapping up, but then, no, we got like 30 more minutes left of shit to do. Like, what is she gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked. You know.
Yeah, and like I said, once those bombs went off,
See, 616 man. That's exactly my point. We're spending too much time on that.
Yeah, I don't. Did they even show his face? I don't even remember.
They didn't show his face, but it looked like it might have been his face burnt off and stuff like that. But people are theorizing about that way too much, ignoring the movie we just saw.
Yeah,
You know?
the awesome movie we just saw.
Right. Let's ignore that. Let's talk about the 5 minutes of may or may not be Joker that we may or may not have seen. You know.
Yeah.
So that's my whole thing about
Yeah,
that. So
because when that whole scene, the whole again, right out of 7 or Silence of the Lambs or Manhunter or whatever, when Batman's talking to Joker or Riddler in Arkham, and then those bombs go off, I went because I thought basically the movie was about to wrap up, like you were saying.
Right.
Like, okay, we're almost over, but then the bombs went off, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a comic book movie. Okay.
It's like the movie itself remembered it was a comic book movie.
Oh shit!
We gotta give him the bombastic,
And then this is shit. The fuck, he's flooding the city, and I was like, oh shit, and then again, like basically right when I would start to get bored, something cool would happen, and it just lifted, like the tension would go up again,
And that's the thing, like the bomb city's going off. They were like, okay, we doing a No Man's Land thing. But the thing that got me was, like I said, we got to talk about the Riddler again. When we find out what Riddler was doing and how they freaked out. Oh, he's got 500 followers. And they say it like it was a big thing, like,
yeah.
But then,
because I'm thinking, who the hell has he got to fight? I mean, it was just Riddler was working by himself, and it turns out he has a whole cult.
Right.
So it's like Saw. That's like Saw, like Jigsaw. He's got a cult.
Well, it is like that, but they to go deeper, like I said, we're coming out of post-pandemic. They wanted us to think about January 6th. That's what they wanted to do, because the thing was, he got all these followers, he got them all amped up, he got them foaming at the mouth because there is an election happening, and they want them to have a terrorist attack right there. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, while everyone's caught on the Joker, they're ignoring all the political and social commentary that's going on in this movie.
Right. Let's talk about whether or not Joker has a face or not, or who's going to play him in the sequel. Like, forget about the stuff that we just saw, that they're throwing January 6th in your face. And not just January 6th, because we talk about January 6th, but there's been so many domestic terrorist acts that's been happening all for the who knows how long. And the thing is, this is how they get together. You want to know how they communicate and how they organize all this shit? This is how. On Reddit, on 4chan, on Discord, hell, Xbox Live. They tracked all this shit
on Twitch.
On Twitch, they track all this shit because they look at all the messages, they communicate. That's how they got all stuff together. That January 6th terrorist attack, there wasn't nothing that people just showed up. They had been organizing this stuff and been monitoring this stuff for weeks.
There was dudes selling fucking hot dog stands there.
Right. This was organized. It was planned. They knew what was going to happen.
Called
they just show up.
Freedom Franks or some shit.
Right. Or some shit. And it's the same thing really is. I was like, oh, damn, this is crazy. So, yeah, you can almost say the Riddler was one of the Proud Boys, whatever like that. He got all this shit organized. And he knew they were going to carry out in his name. I was like, wow, this is topical. I like it,
So I can't wait to see it again, because I
want to see it again also.
I thought it was pretty dope. I had low expectations going in. Y'all know what I thought of Pattinson. I thought he looked lame. I thought his suit looked lame. I thought he looked like the Gimp from fucking Pulp Fiction, like some S&M fucking bondage fucking suit he was in. Yeah, he don't go down on Catwoman, but he'll lick her boots while she's whipping his ass. That's what I was like, kind of, I mean, it's Batman. I'll go watch it, but I was like, it's 3 hours. Oh, here we go. So I was a little reserved going in, and I was legitimately blown away. And it's been a while since a Batman movie blew me away. And like the beginning, like, it was a different tone, because it wasn't the normal superhero flick. It was this mystery. It was this police procedural. You're watching this serial killer, do all these crimes. Batman being a detective. The beginning like it was so not unexpected or fucking with our expectations, but you're watching the beginning, you're wondering, what am I watching? Is this Bruce
Right.
Wayne when he's? Are we going to see another origin story? Is this
Right,
something
because
to
there's
do?
some kid just doing something. Yeah.
Yeah, this kid and this rich folks and this guy's watching them through their apartment and shit, or he's watching. You know, it's a killer watching a family. You know, again from Manhunter, the movie Manhunter. But and then that opening murder scene, and it's this like really dark.
And it's a horror movie at the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's basically the beginning of a slasher flick.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was like, okay, can I take my mom to go see this movie? And I just thought about it, like, no, I can't, because at the beginning of it, he's fucking Freddy Krueger at the beginning of it. I can't even show you.
But after that murder scene, this like creepy ass murder scene happens, then we get the citywide scape, and then we get all this narration. And I'm thinking, who the fuck is talking? Is the serial killer talking? No, this is fucking Batman talking. And I'm like, holy shit, Batman's a fucking psycho.
And the movie is trying to tell you that. That's
yes, I'm like, Batman's a fucking psychopath. You know, he's fucking one step away from fucking going, you know, he already has gone nuts. That's why I like The Dark Knight Returns. Like Frank Miller making Batman the psychotic fucking, you know, psycho. I love that shit.
And the thing is, Eli, because I'm hearing people, I hear some detractors of this movie. And I think that is one of the things, because we know Batman is a psychopath, but he hasn't really been portrayed like that in the movies.
No,
like not like nuts. You know,
I was getting Rorschach vibes from him. He's talking all this shit. I'm like, holy shit, Batman's a fucking creep. He's a fucking psycho. And I'm like, everyone's saying, why doesn't Batman kill? You know why Batman doesn't kill? Because then he'll be a fucking serial killer if he does.
Right. So he's trying to take that one step. That's why.
Yeah, he'll be a fucking psycho, a serial killer if he starts killing.
Batman, I gotta say something else about Batman, man. People are gonna be pissed off about me. Okay, so there was a bunch of stuff online saying how Riddler is an incel, right?
Okay.
Batman is an incel. If you think, we don't think about that, but I'm talking about in the context of this movie. We don't see him play Bruce Wayne. He's not a playboy. He doesn't wine and dine chicks. He barely knows how to interact with Selena. She basically has to kiss him.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what really sets it off is that when he had the binoculars and he was watching Catwoman.
Yeah.
And he was watching her.
He's being a creep.
He's being a creep. She was undressing, and you know, and a lot of people didn't get there because like, oh, okay, we get to see the money shot of Zoe Kravitz, you know, undressing. Like, no, this is through the eyes of Batman. Batman is watching his pervy shit just like you are. So that's the thing. Like, he could have moved the binoculars to the other room. You're like, but nah, I've been Batman a little bit too long. Let me have this. You know?
Yeah. So all the Batman haters are gonna love like shitting on this. Has all the reasons to shit on Batman at the beginning of the movie,
right?
And then at the end, you're like, oh shit, I should help people and not be such a fucking creepy psychotic asshole,
right?
And
he
learns. He learns that he makes that. You see the character arc. Okay, now I'm gonna be the good guy, you know. And at the end, and you buy it at the end.
Did he say that? Because that's the vibe I got. That's the vibe I got from this
Batman
movie.
Is a virgin.
That's the vibe I got from this movie. Like, people don't want to admit that from Batman, but in this movie, I was like, yeah, he's looking at Selena a little bit way too long. I can't blame him, but still.
Like I said, he ain't got time for pussy. He's too busy whipping ass.
Right. Oh man. Yeah.
But that's what I like, and that's why I like Batman. Why I like Batman. You know, I'm not into Batman when he's in the Justice League or all the, you know, the sidekicks and all the shit. I like Psycho Batman. Just basically the Punisher in a cape. You know,
right? Just one step away from it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like about it. You know,
it makes sense. It tracks. That's what I'm saying. So, like we said, we got incel Riddler. We got incel Batman. That's why Riddler thought that he had a friend, had a buddy. You gotta be one of my subscribers, you know.
And that's where Batman had to look like, holy shit, am I as crazy as this guy? Oh, wait, okay.
let me back away from this.
Yeah, he's okay. You got Catwoman telling him you're full of shit because you're a rich white boy.
Well, that's the thing, because Catwoman also thought he was crazy.
Yeah,
because she thought that, okay, I'm about to go kill this guy. You coming with me? You know, like, no, I don't do that. Like, oh, okay, that's when you start realizing, oh yeah, you a rich white privilege dude. Yeah, obviously you don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, you don't want to go all the way. You know, you don't know how you don't know how the real world acts. You
Right.
know, this is the this is people, you know, got to get their hands dirty, and you want to do it from afar. You know,
Right. And
now
that's the thing, like we've
she was
always seen. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, she was totally pulling his card, like, you know, making him realize. So it was a combination of her and then that, you know, realizing, oh my God, am I just as crazy as the Riddler? Where he had to
Right.
like take a look at himself, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. You
I mean,
know,
because he's already been saying that he's been Batman for 2 years, and not only has crime not got lower, crime has gotten worse. You know,
hey,
which is also something from the Long Halloween. Can't see
Cliff's in the
sidekicks and
house.
what Cliff at? Is he?
What up, Cliff?
Oh, Cliff, what's going on? Yeah. Now as far as now, here's the thing, Eli. We talked about how realistic this movie and stuff like that. I don't know. It's like Matt Reeves might have painted himself in the corner. Like this movie is awesome, but I'm saying he might have painted himself in the corner if he's trying to expand the Batman lore. Because how you gonna get like really crazy with this Batman shit that we really go with? Like, I'm just saying, Man Bat, Mr. Freeze, you know, people like that, KG Beast or whatever like that. I think the world might be, you know, or even Scarface and Ventriloquist. Like, is the world too realistic that you can't bring in Clayface? Can he do that in a sequel?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, because like even Nolan, what he turned Bane into like Bane, whatever Bane was. You know, he
Right,
wasn't he wasn't the Mexican luchador like he was in the
right.
comics. You
Because
know,
I'm
pumped
saying
up
that.
on Venom and shit. You know, he was some terroristic leader. Yeah,
Right, that's what I'm saying, because that's the Matt Reeves we got. However, we already know that if we had the Ben Affleck version of this movie and it was tied to the Snyderverse, all that shit would have been there. Clayface, you know,
yeah,
Mr. Freeze, he would have had all that weird shit in there, you know.
yeah.
Especially when you got a Batman, it's like fighting Doomsday and shit like that. So it would have made more sense. But in this one, since it's a different world, it's like, how do you go with that? I love this same wing.
It's Cliff approved.
Cliff
So,
approved. Okay. Something in the water, you know. But yeah, that's my whole thing. So just like how do you go forward from this?
well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I think it was very gritty and raw, but I still think there was enough room for that fantastical shit. So it'd be interesting to see what Matt Reeves does with that. What he would do with Clayface, or you know, Condiment King, or anybody. You know?
Give me, if he makes a Zodiac Condiment King, I'm going 10 times to watch this movie in the
Oh
theaters.
man, if he's a cannibal and putting
Right.
ketchup and shit, and
But it's not really ketchup.
it's like, yeah, he's eating bodies like hot dogs out of fucking. There's your Leatherface. There, Condiment King has Leatherface.
And then just looking at the crime scene of what he did, like, my God.
He's eating his victims with ketchup.
Oh shit, Matt Reeves, you would be a beautiful son of a bitch. You ever do some shit like that? But yeah, I can't see it, but you know, maybe it can, because you can't keep recycling the same Batman villains over again. I mean, how many times can you? Now, Riddler needed an update, but you can't give Joker a break. Bring something else in, you know. And it's only so many like non-human. Like I don't want to see a movie of the Mad Hatter. I don't want to see that shit. You know.
Yeah, we don't need Joaquin Phoenix because. Well, for one thing, that's like 20 years before this movie happened or whatever.
Right. So the timelines doesn't even match up, you know.
Yeah. Realistic Scarecrow. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what he was
selling. Yeah, he was selling drugs in the other movie, you know.
In the Nolan movies, yeah.
Yeah. I told you to take you places. I didn't say where the place you wanted to go. That's what we just did, Cliff.
Yeah. It was kind of it started on Halloween.
Yeah, we just did Long Halloween, but yeah. I don't know, Solomon Grundy, some shit. I don't know what he can do. I don't know what he can do with that. But I think that's what DC is trying to plan. What DC is planning to do now is just, instead of doing a Snyderverse, they're gonna do a Batman verse. So it's just gonna be just nothing but Batman. So they're gonna bring in, you know, Nightwing and Robin and Spoiler and all this shit like that, you know. Realistic. Bigger Creed.
Yeah, Bigger Creed. But remember the cards when he was like leaving clues with the cards? One of them had an owl. So I'm sure that was like Court of Owls. Yeah.
Can you even do Court of Owls? Because the thing is, people are saying they want Court of Owls, and even the new dude playing Batman was the Twilight guy. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me eventually.
Pattinson, yeah.
That guy. He's saying he wants to do a Court of Owls storyline. But the thing is, do people know the Court of Owls storylines? Batman fights zombie ninjas, acrobat zombie ninjas at that. So yeah, it's cool in a comic, but you know, can you do that in a? And then on top of that, he fights them in the Batcave with a giant robot bat suit. Awesome in a comic, but
in
I
an
can't
underground labyrinth and shit.
right. So I can't see how we can go from what we just got to that. And plus, you can't do Court of Owls without Robin anyway.
Yeah,
or at least with Dick Grayson. Well, Dick Grayson, because they said like his grandfather was supposed to be a Court of Owl, and his grandfather come back from the grave as a ninja. Like all this weird
his
shit.
DNA is in the talon or some shit.
Yeah. So yeah, you say you want that, but do you really want that? That's the thing. Ask yourself that question. I want it, you know, but I'm just saying, how do you go from that? That's the thing. It's DCU without Superman is a fake ass DC. We got Supergirl. She's coming. So I know you love that. Let's see, Dark Victory.
That was fine too.
You can do Dark Victory, yeah.
They said Hush. Hush was on there.
How can you do Hush? They did say Hush, and I think they teased them. But that's what I'm saying. So when you start talking about these fantastical, because even though Hush is a regular guy, he's still kind of fantastical. Because I almost kind of want to see it. Because remember, he looks like Bruce Wayne. Yeah. So you have Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson can still be a recluse, but you can have Hush pretending to be a billionaire playboy in the public. You know, hey, I'm Bruce Wayne, but it ain't really Bruce Wayne. You know. Let's see.
Realistic Court of Owls. Rich people with cult gimps in zombie
fetishes. Like
yes. Or furries or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, they'll probably Nolanize it where they're not zombies. You know, they're just on that drip drug or whatever, the shit you call this shit, and they just
something,
you know,
that
crackhead ninjas. I see that shit though.
Somehow brainwashing them or something, you know.
Yeah, they'll make it, you know, realistic where people can,
or like in Nightmare Alley, the geek, where the term geek came from, where they would find drug addicts and alcoholics and just feed them alcohol, and then just
until they become cannibals, or not cannibals, but
and just like here's this monster that eats raw chicken, and then people pay to see this drunken, you know, drug addict eat these grotesque things in front of a live audience. You know, something like that might work, you know, where
see, look at you writing the script right now. Let's see what we got. Gross, a crusty monkey, and oh yeah. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Leon?
Realistic Hush psychopath. Let's see.
Dr. Backman. Yes, that's what I turned to Anthony. I saw this with Anthony, and when he injected himself with the green shit, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And Anthony's like, is that adrenaline? I'm like, sure, but it also looks like venom.
Because it was green. It was green.
Green.
It was green. So yeah. I'm gonna go with adrenaline, but I think the movie wants you it's doing the same thing it did with Joker. You know, it may or may not be Joker. This may or may not be Venom. You know, they're giving you just enough that if we want to go really bringing this wacky, crazy Batman shit, that we can do that. You know, cool Batman. Okay, that guy again.
White guy? Sure. Okay. Hey, I guess I can pass for white. Sweet.
Yeah. So
hopefully the cops will notice that next time I get pulled over.
Have a card with you, something like that, you know. But yeah, that's like I said. Okay, I'm gonna slap a rating on the movie. Now, the thing is, Eli, I'm not gonna say it's the perfect Batman movie. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 because, in my opinion, I still think The Dark Knight and Batman Begins were still better. Matter of fact, Batman 89 was still better. That's just me. Because I'm gonna tell you why. I know it sounds weird to say that. I know we all prisoners of the moment where this is supposed to be the greatest movie all time. I don't feel that way because I do feel like I can sit down with Batman 89 because it's a short enough movie that I can digest everything in the movie. Everything in the movie is quotable to me. Every scene in the movie is quotable to me. It's like a part of my DNA. Same thing with Dark Knight and Batman Begins. I've seen this movie so many times that I can see everything. I do feel like the 3-hour runtime hurts it. That's just me. I do feel like they I don't know what you could have cut, but you could have cut something. Trim this stuff down. Even more than the Joker Arkham Asylum saying cut something down to make it feel more that procedure. And I think the procedure drama, not for me, the mayor is a human. She looks like
she took a rifle round and lived.
She's
I guess.
Deathstroke, I guess. I don't know.
She's the Talon. She's the Talon.
I think they just grazed her. I think that's all it was. It wasn't like a clean shot. I mean, remember, these are like Twitch streamers and shit like that, shooting rifles and shit like that. They were like, mercenaries, So they probably like grazed the side of it, shit like that, and took it down. So hold on. Oh, they're coming in hot. Let's see. Yeah, that's my thing. I still say 89 Batman. That I'm just saying, as far as like Batman's, I would watch first. Realistic Batman retired, Mexican ex still turned Kingpin crime. Yeah, how would you bring in Bane? That's the thing. He's got to have Venom. You can't do that shit they had
if
before.
he was a luchador, like a part of the cartel, or ran luchador wrestling matches as a front.
Right.
Here I am writing another script. I
don't. So that's my thing. So I'm trying to think how. Well, like I said, 3-hour runtime, too long. Because as much of a Batman fan I am, I can feel it. And like I said, Eli, you wearing a Batman shirt, you can feel it also. But what if you are not a hardcore Batman fan and you just want to just see?
There was kids. Somebody brought their like little ass kids into this movie. And I can tell they were bored as fuck because they were running around and shit. The mom had to keep getting up and like taking them out and shit. This isn't, not to say that the violence and all that shit, which it does have, but I don't think this will keep a kid's attention span.
Because that's the thing, because it's not really an action movie.
No,
it's not shit flying at your face every 5 minutes to keep your attention.
The action scenes are dope. The fight scenes are dope. The Batmobile scene was dope, but it's more as like,
the movie wants you to get immersed in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just atmospheric. It wants you to get involved in the movie.
Yeah. It's more, getting involved in the mystery and the investigation,
And the thing is, the movie wants you to take the movie seriously. Now, the thing is, a lot of people are going to see a Batman movie. That means I'm going to see a superhero movie. I want to see shit blow up from the beginning to the end. They want a Marvel movie, basically. Yeah. They want something they don't quips and jokes and something you don't get too invested in.
The same old fight choreography, every action scene, and
they literally use the same guys on every movie. Yeah, so that's what they want. They want something to keep their attention, something easy breezy to get in, nothing to get immersed or atmospheric or really think too much about. Realistic circus psychopath from the circus. No, don't make him a circus guy. Don't want to see Joker. Yeah, I'm saying don't want to see Joker.
I'm kind of tired of the Joker too.
I'm joking out. No more Joker, but that's the knocks I'm having on the movie. I feel like that. The movie requires much of you. The movie requires you to get invested in this movie. And if you just want to just go see something easy breezy, you just want to see shit blow up. You don't want to think about these characters. If you want jokes, shit like that, this movie, you might hate this movie.
Yeah.
Actually going to it. But if you're a Batman fan, like I said, I've read hundreds of Batman books. I may have read thousands of Batman books. I don't know. But if you're into Batman and you played all the Arkham shit like that, this is the most Batman you can get. I don't think a movie has gave you more Batman than this. Because he's Batman all through the movie.
Yeah.
And the thing is, realist Two-Face died from acid thrown in his face, possibly. 7 mixed with year 1. Yeah. Because the thing is, I think in every Batman movie up until this point, the villains have all outshined Batman. Like, you don't go to see Batman. You go see the villain. Yeah, people love Michael Keaton, but Jack Nicholson was the star of that movie.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger was the star of Dark Knight Returns. What other Batman movie was it? Mr. Freeze, I guess. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was he completely stole that movie from everybody in Batman Forever. Whatever you think about that movie, Jim Carrey ran away with that movie. And that's the thing. Like, you go to those movies and that's it. Even though the Riddler actor was awesome, especially towards the end when he started doing his monologue.
You barely see him.
You barely see him. He's barely in it, so he can't take over the movie. So Batman has
which totally works. That made him more creepy.
Especially when you first see him and he's just like some kind of like geeky dude with glasses. You're like, you the fucker that been causing all this trouble all this time? And you're like, it can't be this guy. But then he starts talking and starts acting like, oh, I get it now. Yeah, you're fucking out your mind. You out of your goddamn mind. But the thing is, Robert Pattinson has to carry this movie himself. Like, it's not up to the villains to outshine them. It's up to him to carry this movie. And I think so. That's why I'm saying this is the most Batman movie you get. And it may be too much Batman for most people because that's what Batman comics are. Like, they're detective stories. They're supposed to be atmospheric. And that's why Batman works. That's why Batman been around for 80 years. he is grounded in detective. He's rooted in detective stories, crime drama, even horror a little bit. But he also is married with the fantastical, wacky, crazy superhero shit. You're getting your cake and you eat it too. You know.
Yeah.
That's why I think Batman works. That's why Batman's been around this long. You know. Shit. Anything else you got to say about this movie, or
just I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's my favorite. It is up there. This is up there as one of the better Batman movies for me. I don't know if it's my favorite. I don't think it's my favorite because I had the same thing with Texas Chainsaw. When I was trying to rate my Texas Chainsaw movies, I'm like, well, the first one is classic. It's iconic. It set off the genre. But goddamn, after watching that, you're drained. You know,
right?
You know, I have a lot more fun watching part 2 because it's so funny and entertaining. You know, so I waffle like maybe 2 is my favorite because I watch it more. You know, yeah, I watch 89 a lot. You know?
I found our commentary the other day.
Oh, really?
YouTube took it down. That's why it came out. Yeah. So I have the raw file, but I don't know what to do with the raw file. Like, where can I put it? You know. So
yeah, this movie was beautiful to look at.
Yes, Denny O'Neil would be proud. Yes.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I saw it in the theater. I thought the cinematography was great. The fucking performances were great. The music was great. You know,
here's the thing about the music. It was up and down to me. Sometimes it felt like generic Marvel shit, but then when like shit really got going, all of a sudden the guy went into like God tier John Williams mode where he was just like the fire coming from piano. I was like, okay, now this shit is cranking up. So it was uneven. It wasn't like Batman 89 where it's just like awesome all the way through.
Yeah,
it's like it was awesome sometimes,
but it was dreary. I mean, he used that Nirvana song as like the kind of the basis. Even that theme he had with the 2 notes, the dun 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 dun. It was basically the same chords as the Nirvana song, and that was like kind of like this. That was like this dreary, bleak tone that was throughout the movie, which I thought was cool because it did feel like a horror psychological thriller for most of the movie until you got this cool action scenes and shit.
Then heavy boots, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Batmobile. I thought the Batmobile was cool. The Penguin and all that mob shit. You know, I was really into.
And plus, Batman has cleared out the way for Penguin to take over.
Yeah.
So
and then being a Batman fan, reading Batman comics, seeing those Easter eggs was cool, but not necessary. I was still like enthralled with the movie, but yeah, seeing like the whole 0 year shit, the flooding of the city, the bombs going off, and then it ending with Gotham as this post-apocalyptic flood zone, I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's up there. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's towards the higher end of the Batman movies than to the lower end, like Batman and Robin and shit like that. So it's not that. So
yeah.
Like you said, they give me another. I don't know what they're gonna do with another one of these movies, but I'm excited for it. I want to see it. I kind of want them to keep away from all the Justice League shit, whatever is happening over there. I don't want Barry Allen to show up and say I'm erasing time. You're in the Justice League now. Don't give me any of that. Just keep this separate.
Aquaman comes swimming up into Gotham and help him.
Right. People were saying that like Aquaman should have showed up when the city was getting flooded. So like, no.
Mira comes and pushes all the water back.
Like, no, don't do any dumb shit like that. Even Matt Reeves was like, why would I do that? I got Batman. I don't need these other people. Just so.
Well, Cliff gives us 4 stars. Yeah, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Not a perfect score, but
not a perfect 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, it was a refreshing Batman movie because you can't do what's been done before. And that's the thing. I was scared that they was just going to retread what Nolan already did. It's not that. It's its own feeling. It's its own movie. It's its own style, design. Yeah, they really did it with this. And it's crazy that Matt Reeves really hadn't made that many movies. He made like a couple 8 movies. He did
Cloverfield, and
yeah. And that's about it.
He remade Let the Right One In, that foreign vampire flick. The original is dope. His is okay. It's a remake. For a remake, it's fine. But
I do want to say, when we say he made the Planet Ace movie, he made the last 2. So if you only seen the first one, which I thought was pretty good also, he didn't do that.
They're all
other
great.
2, they're all great, but the other 2, the second and third one, to me were way better than the first one. Like that's
Yeah.
when it was like, oh shit, he's really doing something with these movies. Who is this guy? That's what I was thinking when I watched.
That's
that
how
movie.
you reboot a franchise.
Yeah.
That was a total fresh take on the Planet of the Apes mythology. You know, taking it into a new direction, but also paying homage to the original series and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
So if anybody hadn't seen those movies, watch them. They're awesome. The first one was good. Those other two, man. Matt Reeves brought it. So I think we got enough. We were going to do some other comics, but like I said, Amazon's still acting an ass right now with the Comixology. So we'll figure something out later. If you listen this long, like, share, subscribe. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. I guess we'll finally get back to normal with comics or something.
It was a light week with comics anyways. So
yeah, it wasn't when it came out anyway. It was probably, I think, like an X-Men book came out, and and they had a Batman book come out, but it was a shitty one where he teams up with Lex Luthor or some shit like, and Batman, they got to fight Batman Incorporated or something.
Oh yeah, I quit reading that one.
My thing is like, career one. The season went out. Like,
he's talking about
Planet of the Apes, yeah. Batman Year 3. So I guess you could do Batman Year 3. But yeah, that's my thing. So it's like you got this big tentpole Batman movie come out, and this the bullshit story you're gonna write. Like, okay. They do got a one shot with him actually fighting Catwoman and Penguin and Killer Croc and Riddler. I think Tom King's writing that one, but
I'm not reading that either.
I'm not reading that shit either. So it's like whatever. That's why we're just gonna just review some old shit, but we'll do that later on. So yeah, I probably already said this. You listen, like shit, just like the Riddler. You know, we want a crazy domestic terrorist army. Also, like, share, subscribe.
Did you go to that website at the end of the credits?
Shit. Let's go to it right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, live. Let's go to it. Let's see. Let me see. Matter of fact, I actually sent it to you, so let's find it. What was it? La Rata, not El Rata.
La or L? I thought it was L.
Now I'm fucking with that.
That's why I'm fucking it up just like this movie.
just like, but he's Batman. He's not supposed to fuck up shit like that, you know. Let's see. Okay, I'm about to go to it. Let's see. I don't know what we're gonna find. So if people don't know what we're talking about, if you stayed after the credits, they actually gave you a link to the Riddler's website. Can you see it? Okay.
I heard like there's some riddles to solve, and if you solve them, you get like extra shit.
Okay.
I can't even read that shit. I need my glasses.
I hope I'm not getting hacked or anything like that. But yeah. It's just loading up. It's just some crazy shit loading up. Look, I'm not finna solve this riddle. I suck at riddles. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not Batman.
I never even did all the riddles on the Arkham games. I was like, fuck these riddles.
I did get them. Because, okay, so everybody don't know the trick on the Arkham games. If you find a Riddler goon and you beat the shit out of him, he will tell you where the riddles are in an area. So they're actually pretty, you know, not hard to find. Yeah. But you got to find the Riddler goons first, you know. Hell, I might stream Arkham Knight again. I ain't streamed that in a while. Or Arkham City, or Arkham Origins, or Arkham whatever.
Arkham City.
Arkham City?
My favorite, yeah.
I'll stream Arkham
Which
City.
one? The one where we were in the Batmobile. God, that was a pain in the ass.
Oh, no, man. That was awesome. That's my favorite one.
Was it? Oh, man, I was having such a hard time in the Batmobile. And some of them where you have to, like, you're using the fucking, the
platforming
line and shit. Yeah.
The platforming, yes, that sucked. But the actual driving in the Batmobile, I actually like that, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, that was fun, yeah.
Yeah, but we getting off subject. Anyway, definitely follow us next week. Until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bully time, same bully channel.